Podcasting from somewhere in the San Francisco Bay Area, the birthplace of Bruce Lee, the iPhone, and the bendy straw. This is Ruel's Running Podcast, a podcast about running, health, family, play, and an NSNG lifestyle. And now, here's your host, Ruel.
There was a dream a million miles away. There was fire in
Amazon.com. You know, I won't be surprised if more and more stuff that I shop for, buy, and get shipped to my home comes from Amazon. It's just a reality, right? And if this is your reality, go to ruelsrunning.com, click through to the Amazon banner to get to Amazon. Why am I asking you to do so? Well, it is a no-cost-to-you way. If you like listening to Ruel's Running Podcast, it is a way that you can help the show out without spending more than you've already spent while shopping at the good folks at Amazon.com. So help us out. Go to ruelsrunning.com, click through to the Amazon.com site, and shop, connect, and enjoy. Hey everybody, how's it going? It's me, your host, Ruel Abadam, as I'm also known. I know it's kind of too long and weird, that's why I've shortened it to Ru. You're welcome. How's everybody doing? You know what, I'm on the move, so if you hear a lot of clinging and clanging, that's just my brain. And if you hear a lot of road noise, that's just the road. So I will be talking quickly as I make my way to my next destination, sucking down on some coffee with heavy whipping cream again. Surprise. You know, I am got a lot running through my mind. Ooh. So, you know, where I live, we've got turkeys. And right now I've had to slow down so that I wouldn't hit them, run over them. Pretty impressive. The ones that are like all on display, you know, there's a couple of them, and then some younger ones. But they're all over this place. I mean, not right now, but you know, you see them in spots and little gangs, and once in a while you'll see them fly down from a tree or fly up to a tree. And I wonder, you know, like, do they gather at a certain time of the day and have like the gathering of turkeys, you know, a big old convention or something, and there's one grand turkey who oversees the whole community of turkeys here in where I live, you know? And I've once seen a couple up on trees, but other than that, like, where the heck do the rest of them go? You know, is there a little neighborhood just for turkeys that we don't know? It's hidden, kind of like the Smurf Village. Yeah. They're just I don't know, they're impressive. The ones that are all decked out and spread out with feathers and whatnot, you know, they're really impressive. Anyways, speaking of turkey, I recently did some grocery shopping, and it's not entirely, well, it's for the household, but it's not my groceries, nor is it the groceries that my wife would buy. I have to participate in a separate grocery shopping experience, either to take my mom, who I've mentioned before lives with us, and so, you know, I do things like help her get her groceries. I'm a good son, aren't I? Pick up her medications, But every time, there's no way to get used to it, but every time I participate in getting groceries for her, chunk of the stuff is for the household, she helps out with that. But then there's other stuff that's like, I wouldn't buy this for myself or for the family. And so yeah, it's I got a grocery list in front of me. Here we go. Paper towels. Awesome. Who doesn't love paper towels? They're delicious. We use them a lot. They're not delicious. Use them a lot. I do bacon a lot. Almost every day I do bacon. And, need some of that paper towels to pick up some of that grease. And to wipe spills and messes that kids create. My youngest, my daughter, she likes to use the ice and the water dispenser that's on outside the refrigerator, and sometimes that stuff just all on the floor. Well, that's not what it sounds, but splat on the floor, and I gotta clean up some mess. And, and all of the cooking of things in bacon grease, causes a bit of splatter. So paper towels are good. That's a given. Bath tissue, aka ass wipes. Yeah, that's important, right? Yeah. Need that stuff. Kleenex. That's generic for nose tissue, I guess. And my mom goes through a lot of that stuff. She, for whatever reason, has this thing where every day she's blowing her nose, and she blows it like a bad trumpeter, or it's annoying, but she has this thing where she's constantly blowing her nose. I don't know what's going on with her exactly, but I generally think things like that, probably eliminating mucus buildup and stuff, probably has to do with how she eats, and combination of that and the medications she's on. So I've got, for this particular shopping list, that's 3. There's 3 next to the line item says Kleenex, the tissue, the facial tissue. And what that means is 3 3-packs. So that's 3 times 3, 9 boxes of facial tissue. That's a lot of tissue, And about, I don't know, how many count? It's a lot of tissue. What else is here? We haven't even gotten to the edible stuff yet. Okay, Folgers coffee. That's instant coffee. And I don't like this stuff. It's pretty nasty. I'd only have instant coffee in case of an emergency, like I don't know, I'm out camping and I'm exhausted, and it's been 5 minutes since my last coffee, and I'm dying to have another cup of coffee. Something like that. But that stuff's nasty, and this is how nasty it is, right? My mom makes her Folgers coffee, her instant coffee. Sometimes she switches over brands to a different instant coffee, Nescafe. And she makes her coffee. She gets the little teaspoon, that we have in the drawer with the kitchen utensils. And it's always the little teaspoons that she uses to make her coffee. And guess what? It's those little teaspoons that show the greatest amount of tarnish. Everything else looks fine. I'm not saying everything is tarnished, but those damn teaspoons are tarnished, and I'm convinced it's because of her instant coffee. Now, that's disgusting. Why do you want to digest something that's going to cause, tarnish on stainless steel? I'm signaling. I'm executing my turn. Huh? Isn't that great? Ooh. Ah, man. I don't want to be interrupting. There's a ceremony. There's a new business establishment, and the staff, they're going through this opening ceremony, and I just drove right in front of them. I stopped, obviously, had to wait for them to wave me to drive through because they were taking a group photo. And it looks pretty impressive. They've got I don't know what you call them, some uniformed gentlemen holding flags, and they look like military veterans. And every time I see that type of stuff, I always I feel thankful. I feel grateful, and I'm in my mind like to shake each of those guys' hands for their service. That's just how I feel. Anyways, so what was I talking about? Yeah, tarnished spoons. Who needs tarnished spoons? But yeah, what's it doing to her gut? Having to ignore the beeping, folks. That's just my heart. Yeah. So, yucky coffee. I'll get some good coffee, but that's how she rolls. She we have a case of bottled water, and for whatever reason, she thinks that bottled water is better than what we have on tap, or what we have filtered through the refrigerator, or what we have filtered through a pitcher. And so what it produces is extra weight for the grocery shopping experience, and extra stuff that goes in the recycle bin. Thanks, Mom. And she has here bread, and often that's whole wheat bread. And as we know here on this podcast, that's just a sugar bomb. And I wouldn't eat it, and I wouldn't buy it for the kids. But that's how she rolls, because she follows the, that approach of diet. She has a line item here, cereal, and that's toasted oats. Plain toasted oats, fortunately, not the added sugar, but still it ends up being sugar nonetheless when once dealt with in the body, right? Toasted oats. Cooking oil, and that means vegetable oil. And she cooks with vegetable oil, and I tell her that if she's ever going to cook anything for the kids, do not use that oil. I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but cooking oil should be illegal. The vegetable oil, rather, canola oil. There's a reason why I have jars and jars and jars of saved bacon grease, and jars of coconut oil, and olive oil, and so that we don't have to cook with that garbage oil, vegetable oil, canola oil. She has here, this is new, haven't seen this in a while, hazelnut creamer. Man, that's like flavored canola oil right there. Or flavored vegetable oil. It's not even real cream, Instead, what do I use? I use heavy whipping cream. Here we go, eggs. Now that's something I would agree with. Eggs. I'd have eggs. For her, they're not the pricier, cage-free, type of eggs, but I'll take conventional eggs over cereal, over bread, over Folgers coffee. Detergent, so that's just laundry detergent, if anybody cares. It's the common high efficiency type stuff. I'm not convinced high efficiency is really efficient. But that's the dye-free, perfume-free detergent. Not her preferred, but I forced that upon her because I don't want the perfumes and the dyes in the washer. Same with the dryer. We don't do dryer sheets anymore. They're a bunch of BS. They're just perfumes, and there's no real reason why you need to add chemicals to make your clothes feel light and fluffy, because they, for the most part, are light and fluffy anyways. and this is my life, folks. She has a line item here, liner. When I do these grocery shopping things for my mom, yep, I'm buying my mom a little package of panty liners. So guys, feel sorry for me. And yeah, but I don't care. I have no problem with it. Here's another line item, cranberry juice light. Yeah. How do we feel about juice here? Juice is just a sugar bomb. And light means there's a reduced amount of sugar, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's any better. It's still sugar. It may be just a diluted batch of cranberry juice, or it's got artificial sweetener, which isn't any better anyways. So, cracker. That's not derogatory. That's saltine crackers for her. And nothing special about that other than it's crap. Saltine crackers, just wheat flour and salt. Then dishwashing liquid. She likes to wash pots and pans a certain way, and so she asks for her own dishwashing liquid. At home, I mean, my wife and I, we prefer, the less harsh, not so harsh, more, I don't know, earth-friendly type dishwashing products and things definitely that smell a bit more pleasant, not all chemically, like say like a Dawn dishwashing liquid. So that's that list. The only thing that as far as edible things, the only things that I agree here with are eggs and the water. The water, pretty awesome. Yeah, egg and water. Woohoo! I can go for that. Yeah. Oh, God. I finished my coffee. So, hey, a little bit of run chat. Haven't done it in a while, it feels like, but I been running around the city time to time, and I really enjoy it. And I don't know if I've mentioned it. I can't remember if I mentioned it before, but I've lived in the San Francisco Bay Area for a good number of years, and I don't spend. Over the years, I haven't spent a consistent amount of time in the city, but I'm familiar with the city, and there are a lot of parts to the city that I'm fond of, and but moving to the city from Guam, I've always had that impression in my mind that it's a massive, massive place that you can easily get lost in, and part of that is true. But as I do my runs in the city, I'm able to. I realize that I could hit certain points of interest on foot, and as I continue to do that, it sort of makes the city smaller, Now everything is, I'm starting to feel like, everything is really close to each other, and it really has been. It's just, when you're in it, it's like, how do you get around, So, I'd love to get a run in today. I didn't want to get one in yesterday when I went in, because a couple days ago I had another one of my migraines. It's all my fault. I had it coming. I deserved it. Shame on me. And why do I say that? I say that because, sorry for the background noise, that's just the friendly neighborhood construction workers. And I'm just going to let it roll. That's just how I'm going to do it. So, I had a migraine, and I've talked about it in the past whenever I had migraine chat. Usually the migraines are because I've let myself go one way or another and my body's in a state of inflammation, and then I react by having a migraine, just like folks react in their own different, in unique ways to things that their body isn't happy about. Mine happens to react with, hey, here's a migraine for you. Yeah, I got up in the morning, and one side of my head was a little heavy and achy, and I figured if I just got some coffee on me, I'd wake up and I'd get past that feeling. It was kind of like a hungover feeling. But as I went through the rest of the morning, it just evolved. I'd stand in the kitchen, try to get breakfast and meals prepared, and I start to feel that aura kick in. It's just a really yucky feeling, and I did everything that I needed to do to get the kids meals and stuff, and kids off and out, except I wasn't able to do the kid to school runs. I did a lot of the prep, got to see one kid off to the bus, but then the other two kids I couldn't take to school. Luckily, my wife was home that morning, so she was able to do those things, and I just passed out that morning. Couldn't get into the office. I couldn't even message the team at work that I was out for the count that morning, but I eventually did. Totally sucked. So I didn't want to go for a run yesterday because that would have been the first day back, and I wanted to take it easy, and I didn't even think twice about whether or not I would have done an extended fast. I just figured just try to get some good food in me. I was really craving something brothy, like the beef broth that comes with a Vietnamese pho noodle soup, But and yesterday, what I found as an alternative to that is some borscht. I don't know exactly what's in it. I generally know what's in it, but I don't know if there's any sugar in it or what. But I got that was the alternative. I could have gotten that Vietnamese soup, but they were cash only. I didn't have any cash at hand. So if anybody has cash that I could borrow or I can have, please send it my way for the next time. But yeah, I had some borscht, and that's was, if I remember correctly, cabbage, beets, beef, and broth, something like that. Had to have been beets because the dang thing was bright red. So I'm running. Hopefully today I get a run in. Feeling a little bit better. Trying to remember how unpleasant that migraine was, so that I can remember to make better food choices. Because I got in that bad state because my wife's nephew had visited from Guam. He had spent some time with us, and I had just really, really relaxed with what I was putting in my body. Just went out to enjoy, and then as I lay in bed thinking, dealing with a migraine, I always do this. I always do it where I try and figure out, I rewind in time, in my mind, trying to figure out what was it, what would have caused it, and it was just a series of stuff that just my body decided to So my thinking was this, a couple of days before, what did I do? I ate something. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, it had like probably some weed in it or something. I don't know. It's just enjoying having being visited by my son, my wife's nephew. It's a special time. We're showing him around. But the day before, I had we had a big family lunch at at a Chinese dim sum restaurant nearby, and the experience was fun, but that meant, I was getting into fun, delicious foods, but not foods that necessarily aren't optimal for me. I was like, what the heck? Got into that. Then later on in the day, we took the nephew to a place that was also fun, and they served crepes, and I generally would have just like, I'm not interested. But then I started thinking, and this is where I know, based on the foods that I put in my body, I start to get reprogrammed because I'm thinking about getting more of it, or more of the less optimal foods in me. So there I am, I'm in a crepe store, and I'm thinking about, maybe I will have a crepe. But ordinarily, I like to think, it wouldn't even be appealing to me. But there I was thinking about, maybe I'll have one. I could have a savory crepe. Give me the one with tri-tip in it. And I'm thinking, that's the better option out of it all. None of the sweet stuff, right? But at the end of it all, it had a crepe, and that's basically a pancake. That's basically bread. That's basically, a dessert. Never mind that there was tri-tip in it. It didn't help. So that I stacked on that. I had the dim sum, then I did the crepes, and then for whatever reason, because that crepe experience wasn't a meal for the group, we went to In-N-Out, right? And I tried to be good, and this is how human I am, right? We went to the drive-thru, I placed the order for everybody else, and I ordered mine. I wanted the 2 meat, 2 cheese, protein style, which meant it was going to be lettuce wrapped, right? And I wanted it mustard fried. Mustard fries, yummy. And, for those who don't know what mustard fry is, they'll take the meat patty and they'll fry it up with one side having mustard on it, and they'll put that in your burger. So, at any rate, did that. But then when I got my burger, it wasn't lettuce wrapped. That part didn't get translated into the order. But I got a large party, and I'm not interested in wasting more time, I'm not interested in wasting time trying to get stuff fixed because somebody messed up on the other end. I just said, I'll just deal with it. And that was a mistake. So I dealt with it. What did they mean by I dealt with it? I dealt with it because I ended up eating that bun. I could have, I don't know why I didn't peel it off. I should have peeled it off. I'm an idiot. But I did it, right? So there it was. That thing stacked against me too. Really bad. And so yeah, I was just going with that flow. And woke up the next morning and paid the price. That's just how it happened. That's just the reality of it. Yeah. And so I'm trying to come back to life. I think I am. And not caring about all this background noise that I'm subjecting the listener to. And you guys can feel free to click off while this is all happening, but I'm going to say that this is just going to have to be one of those tests of the commitment to the listener, if not of the podcast, at least this episode, it also will be a test of the leveling the software utility that's used to level the tracks, the audio on the tracks of this podcast to see if it makes it any better. I just don't give a shit right now. And I know I'm all over the place, but anyways, my running, I'm thinking about doing an event around here again. Another 50K would be fun. It'll probably be in May. I don't know. I need to. We'll see. That's not set in stone. It's another one of those things that, if I can get into it, then it would introduce me to like 3 different parks, a set of trails that I get to experience. A set of trails that I know have existed and they're good places for running. But if I'm going to do another 50K, I'll definitely need the event and I'll need the support that comes with doing an event. And hopefully, that can happen. Because if that can happen, look forward to making some new connections there. Like that last 50K I did in Lake Chabot, I made some connections with Ken Michael, who I'm an idiot. I messaged him. I'm an idiot. We were already connected, but I hadn't interacted a whole lot with him in the past. But I guess I connected to him at a greater level because we were on the same trail. We said hi to each other. Congratulated each other, whatever. Then I connected with him on a different Facebook group that I admin. He said, dude, we were already connected. We were connected by Scott Kummer from 10 Junk Miles. It's a podcasters in training Facebook group that I set up a while back. So there's a small band of folks there who either podcast or are interested in podcasting that are there. So anyways, speaking of Ken, that guy's, he's a podcaster too. Listen to his podcast if you're interested in more shenanigans from a different ultra runner. He's like a big dude, meaning he's a big deal. He's a veteran of a 100-mile event that I would someday like to do, maybe once or twice for the experience. Ken Michael's an impressive guy. He's so impressive that he's on his way to doing a 100-mile event in Hawaii again. It's called Hurt 100. And I know that because I listen to his podcast, but he recently completed a 48-hour event up in Davis, and he talks about it, preparing for it on his podcast, the podcast Running Stupid. And I look forward to his next episode where he hopefully covers his experience there. And he killed it. He killed it on that 48-hour event. He finished. He won it. He, since I follow him on Facebook, I got, he posted updates. He won the thing. He posted the course record, and that's awesome. I'm really happy for the guy. Congrats to Ken Michael. I'm not sure if he listens. I'll tell him to listen. Congrats, dude. That's awesome. Very exciting. But that's all I got for Run Chat. I've got other stuff to chat about and stuff that I'm dealing with. I have got a sore left wrist. And no, Lonnie, that's not because I was using my wrist in some highly repetitive, fun way. Because it's not my left, it's my right that I'm familiar with. The left is the stranger. But early in the year, did a couple snow trips with the family, and I banged up my wrist. The ulna side of the wrist, the side closest to the pinky. I smashed it against the roof rack on top of the van. Either I was trying to secure the damn thing or open it up, and my hand slipped, and I just smashed that part of the wrist on the rack, the rail, the side rail. And I winced. It sucked. It was painful. And then I kind of brushed it off, thinking like, I've been banged up before in martial arts so many times, I'll just kind of cruise through it. And here we are in, 3 months later, and it's reminding me that I have a wrist injury. It's, hey, you remember when you banged yourself on the thing? Well, here you are. It still hurts. When I do just basic functions like picking up my kid out of the bathtub or picking her up and securing her to her car seat in the van, holding my laptop on with my left hand, just different movements, causes the sharp pain in my wrist. So I got to get that checked out. I'd like to get it scanned to see if I cracked anything. But I'm going to have to fire my doctor if she ends up saying some bullshit like, oh, that's because you're in your 40s, you have arthritis. I'm not buying it. Because I'm not just going to have arthritis on my left wrist. If I'm going to get arthritis, I got to have it on both wrists. That's how I want it. But it's a wrist injury, and I'm convinced that it's never going to be 100%, but I'll get close to it somehow through some sort of therapy. But I need to rule out anything broken first, then go that direction. The thought of me getting older and not being able to use one of my hands as I should, kind of makes me sad, my grandfather, he in his retired age, he still worked part-time at a barber shop, and he cut the best hair, and he wasn't like, not like the kind of guy I am when I cut hair, because I cut the boys' hairs, I cut my own hair, I use clippers. I can use the shears, but for the type of way that I cut the kids' heads, I just buzz the thing off. But my grandfather, he does the whole classic barber stylings of the crew cut and the flat tops and the nice and tight and tapered and all that stuff. He was that old guy that had it nice and clean around the sides for his hair, because he worked with other barbers who were the same way, but still, that generation of the old man's pomade, and so, my grandfather eventually stopped doing the haircuts because his hands weren't the same. He had, arthritis or something, and he just didn't have the control that, or maybe he just dealt with pain. And he couldn't do the job anymore. And that's sad. And I don't want to end up being that guy who I can't do a certain activity anymore, like, say, martial arts or whatever, because of it. So I got to figure it out. If guys like Bruce Lee can come back from a back injury and still do awesome things on, with martial arts, either on film or not, my little tiny wrist, I should be able to recover from. I was looking up, images of the wrist on Google last night, trying to figure out, what's in there that I might have injured. Is there any, ligament or tendon damage on that side that may have occurred, or, what could I have hurt? Yeah. I'm waiting for my train. Waiting for a train. 2 minutes for my train. I don't know, can you guys stand? If anybody's still listening, can you stand another 2 minutes of all this noise? I've got the freeway noise. Most of all that's going on right now. And then there's some wind. And they're just my horrible voice, kind of all over it as well. So, yeah, that's that. So, yeah, I'm about to hit the train, but, I'll continue on in a bit. Yeah. I'll continue on in a bit because I got other stuff to say.
Coming up, Rue gives us something else to think about. How vague is that, Ruel? Geez. Could you be any vaguer, Ruel? Well, it's all coming up on Ruel's Running. Okay, the book is called Eat Happy, Gluten-Free, Grain-Free, Low-Carb Recipes for a Joyful Life by me, Anna Vicino. Eat Happy has 154 delicious grain-free, gluten-free recipes that are also free of any processed sugars. There are meats, fish, sides, soup, starters, casseroles, slow cooker recipes, breakfast dishes, and even desserts to satisfy any sweets craving you might have, all with virtually no sugar. If you are low-carb, paleo, are wanting to keep autoimmune issues at bay, or just want to lose extra weight, Eat Happy gives you comfort food where you won't miss the sugars or grains, so your body and brain can feel happy from eating real foods. Okay, go get it then. Now's your chance. Yay! Yay!
Hey everybody, I just want to cut in right here and say something that I think is important. I've talked about it before and I want to mention it again. It has to do with sometimes, you're not feeling your best. You're maybe a little stressed. Maybe you can say you're a little depressed. And sometimes you can get over that little dip, that little hump, by just talking to somebody, someone close to you, a friend, a coworker, or maybe you hit up your connections on whatever social media you may or may not be on, and that's great. That is one way to sort of deal with things. Sometimes it's sorting out your music collection, right, or listening to music, maybe going for a run. I do that often. Well, I often use running as a way to sort of feel good and clear my head, or maybe a podcast once whatever that is, but maybe a podcast, and that helps sort things that are going on in your head, and all these things, however you do it, helps you manage and cope. But sometimes sometimes you do those things and they're not enough, or sometimes you don't have access to those sort of things, something that helps you, and you want something more, you need something more, and what I'm talking about is having that personal touch, that coach, or maybe depending on your needs, maybe it's a therapist, or a psychiatrist, somebody who that really has that expertise and that experience to really see you through what you're going through and help with things where they need to be, so that you are well, so that you are better. And one way you can do that is accessible and affordable is through a service, through an app. Most of you folks are already on your mobile device, probably listening to this podcast. I don't know why you would want to listen to this podcast, but I'm thankful you are. You're here, and you already have, something that'll help get you there. All you've got to do is go to your App Store or your Google Play Store, depending on what device you're on, and download the app called Ginger.io. Ginger.io. I've talked about it before. There are folks. It's a company that I work for on my day job, but because of my own experiences with not feeling my best, feeling a bit depressed and struggling, and and hearing stories about others who have had really intense situations, knowing what the company I work for does, I'm in contact with folks who provide a level of care and support that folks can use when they just need a bit more and that expert touch to help them get through those ups, those downs, those depressions, those stressful moments. And you can check them out at their website as well, ginger.io. That's ginger.io. It's not .com, it's .io. You find out more about what they do, what they offer, and who is behind it. I work on the technology side. I'm not a healthcare expert, and I've talked about health-related things on this podcast, and because this is health, and it's a life thing, health and wellness and family and nutrition. It's it's all a part of life, and for us to enjoy our life, sometimes we need that support, and we can get it. You can get it, through these guys. They're a support team of professionals, coaches, licensed therapists, and psychiatrists. So check them out. Download the app, ginger.io. That's ginger.io. And when you go in, I've talked about in the last podcast that you can use a code CARE39, CARE39. I do want to say that this service is not available in all countries, and but you'll find out if you go to your app store and you don't find the app for whatever reason. Then that's an indicator. But for folks who do find it, I encourage you to check it out, take advantage of it, take advantage of the code KR39, and again, Ginger.io. They're convenient, they're discreet, and affordable when you feel stressed, anxious, or down. Awesome. Hey guys, I haven't done it in a while, for various reasons, and I can come up with a lot of excuses, but I am thankful for you guys tuning in, listening to my offerings. But I do want to give a shout out. I want to give a shout out to my friends that know me beyond this podcast. They know me from a personal level, but they do tune in and they pay attention, and I get that feedback from them, and I'm talking about Trey Beauchamp, and he's been, or Beecham, sorry Trey, I butchered it. I did it again. Blame it on Vinny. Vinny's the one. He's embedded the mispronunciation for years, and that just kind of went right out there. So Trey Trey is a good friend. I consider a good friend. You know, he's one of the folks that I've been able to connect with thanks to the NSNG lifestyle, the Vinny Tortorich's No Sugar No Grains group. But since then, you know, we've stayed in contact. You know, we have each other's numbers. He's also been a guest on the podcast, you know, talking about, you know, his adventures, you know, living the lifestyle and running his first marathon. But yeah, I want to give a shout out to Trey, you know, and he gave me some feedback on that last episode, and gave me some feedback on the podcast, which I greatly appreciated. It's nice to know that, you know, I know what it's like. I mean, I can sit here, I can talk, and I can stop the recording and feel like, boy, that really wasn't anything. But I put it out anyways. But somehow it matters to folks, and I'm thankful and I'm grateful. And I get it, because I listen to other podcasts with podcasters that express the same thing about their shows. Like, you know, I'll hear it. I'll hear them say, like, if there's anything, I hope there was something useful in that episode, but they put it out anyways, because it is. It's entertaining. You feel a connection to the person who's on the other end recording the podcast, and there's always that little bit of something, at the very least, that you take away from, you know, whether it's a little bit of advice or insight on the life of somebody, on how they go about things. You know, I follow this one guy, podcaster and ultra runner, Ken Michael, and you know, I see a little bit of myself in the way he podcasts. He just goes out there and puts himself out there, and he says the same thing. It's like, oh, you know, he's kind of curious whether or not there was something, you know, to take away from a podcast that he would record, you know, especially if it's like this format where it's just, you know, the podcaster, no guest, nothing, just the podcaster. And to answer his question, after I listen to his podcast, is yes, definitely, because I'll never be that type of runner that Ken Michael is. That guy is he's a highly accomplished endurance machine, the way I see it. You know, he recently, I mentioned it before, he recently completed a 48-hour event. So that's running 48 hours. A loop of a particular loop on pavement. So, and he won the thing, you know. That's incredible. And he's done longer distances than that. I think he covered something like 100. I'm going to misquote it. 140, 150, but you know, either way, he blew past 100 and in that. So, anyways, yeah. So, I guess what I'm saying is I'm happy that that I can still connect with folks doing this podcast, and knowing that my friends still pay attention means a whole lot. But there are folks that are out there that are listening. I know that, you know, I have yet to connect with, you know, but I'm making the connections, you know, and I'm grateful. Like on Twitter, I haven't done one of these in a while, but you know, still connecting a bunch on Twitter with folks that, you know, that know me through the Vinny Tortorich No Sugar No Grains group, from folks who tune in, who find out about Vinny either on the Corolla, you know, the the Corolla's podcast or Vinny's podcast. You know, they hear there's this little Filipino guy who has a podcast. Right. No, it's not Joe Coy. It's me. Well, quite often folks will know about Vinny through Adam Carolla's show, and then they'll tune into Vinny's, and then they'll tune into Vinny's, and they'll hear, you know, somebody on Vinny's show make fun about me, and then somehow people find me. And I always send an auto response like, "How did you find me?" If not, it's like, "What'd you have for breakfast?" Because I'm interested to find out what people have for breakfast, so I can be inspired. But yeah, connecting with a bunch of folks on Twitter, it's pretty awesome. recently, I guess I want to give a shout out to one recent one. Her name is Sarah. Sarah. What's up, Sarah? And Sarah's special to me, a special new connection because, she's just say the past year and a half she's gone through a lot of personal medical stuff, and she's now new to the NSNG lifestyle, and she used to run and she wants to get back into running because like me, it's a way for her to sort of go out and help her, not just her body and her fitness, but also help her mind. So shout out to Sarah. I just call her Sarah. And without going into the details, it's just I've tweeted back to her. I'm honored to get to know her. I'm honored to meet her, even if it's through these small bits of characters on a Twitter direct message or whatnot. Yeah. Thank you. So yeah, folks, if you don't know, I'm on Twitter, and you can hit me up there at Ruel's Running. There's a bunch of stuff that I want to talk about that I quite often just kind of let go. I don't think twice about it, or it doesn't even come to mind. But I forget to tell folks that I do other things. I do side projects. I've done a bunch of design pieces for Vinny that he uses for his swag. It's awesome. I participate in adminning or moderating the Vinny Traditional Sugar No Grains Facebook group. It's a closed group, so if you find it, requests come in. We do, Lonnie and Tallulah, we share the responsibility of looking at all the requests to be added to the group. We don't put everybody in, obviously, because we want to protect whoever's in and from having spam profiles go in and post inappropriate stuff, whether that be porn or the selling of products that don't need to be mentioned or promoted in the group. So yeah, there's that. You'll probably find me there on Twitter. I do the pieces that I've helped Vinny with. They're things that folks in the group enjoy. Vinny's swag from the earliest of earliest, in the group, in the community. There was the hashtag NSNG, the original classic design that Vinny picked up on. I threw it out there as sort of a hey, I wish I had this as a bumper sticker. I'd clearly put this hashtag NSNG or NSNG on my vehicle to celebrate the lifestyle and promote it. He grabbed onto it, and with the help of Sheila Dixon over at Panther City Tees in Texas, the original NSNG T-shirt design was born. And then over the years I've helped with some other random designs. There was one, it was a picture of Vinny's face screaming, and it said something along the lines of eat fat, burn fat, or something like that. That was a limited edition design. It was an enormous design. I have it somewhere posted on one of the social media accounts. I'll make sure to try to highlight it. But that was fun. But more recently, especially because of the following at the Adam Carolla podcast, and Vinny's interactions on Twitter, folks wanted to see shirts that said, fuck quinoa. Folks wanted to see a shirt that said, my favorite breakfast cereal is bacon and eggs, So, you see those, Vinny's asked me to, when those ideas came up, he said, can you design something? And, I whip stuff out quickly and throw a few designs his way. He picks them, and then, send them over to Sheila, and Sheila knocks them out. And Vinny's been, selling those at a limited run, at on his website and at his live shows, his live events. So, basically what I'm saying is, I'd love to help. If I can help, I like to say, if I can help anybody, then I'll help. And that's my way of saying, if I have what it takes to do what you need, then, and it's within my bandwidth, then I'll do it. And otherwise I won't. But I put myself out there to find out, if anything, hit me up. And I do that, I offer that through my other website, abadam.com, abadam.com. I'll do various random things. I helped Lonnie out. He wanted to migrate his website over from one service to another, one hosting provider to another, and give him the ability to have control of everything on the website. I helped him with that pretty quick and easy. And Lonnie is, Trey's brother, big brother, and those guys I'd help anyways, but Lonnie, being the businessman, he knows that time is money, so he hired me for a little bit to do that job, and I was happy to. And I'm like, I guess I'm a little like Vinny. If you're somebody that I really like, and I do a job for you, then I'll offer more above and beyond what I would a typical I guess customer or whatever. And so that's my long-winded way of saying, you can also check me out at abadam.com related to things that are not that are not of running, and that are not of what I do on my day job as in software, So there you go. That's that. Thanks, guys. Don't forget to go to the website, ruelsrunning.com, see what's going on there. And I promise to keep it updated and try to keep it as interesting as possible. And till then, I guess I'll sign off. Yeah, sign off. Awesome. Have a great day or evening. Good morning or good night. Hug family. If you don't have family, hug someone else's family. Hug a friend. Find something delicious. Enjoy it. A lot. And go run something. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Ruel's Running Podcast with Ruel. If you like what you just heard, share it with your friends and your enemies. Also, be sure to check out the site over at ruelsrunning.com. This has been another Coffee with Heavy Cream production. Join us next time for another silly show of Ruel's Running Podcast.